Greetings, everybody. Andrew and Beth here at Neuronome Auto Service.
Hey.
We actually have some exciting news that's unrelated to what I'm about to talk about. We have a video up on our page where we're about to have a little baby soon. Beth shot a neat little video showing if it's going to be a boy or a girl. So neat news for us. And like we said in the video, thanks again to family and friends and customers for all of your support the last couple of years. It means a lot. What I wanted to talk to you about today is a maintenance issue related to changing coolant periodically. Commonly in maintenance schedules, you'll see intervals for changing coolant. Some of them will be per mileage, some of them will be per time, or both. Coolant does degrade over time. It does have a shelf life, so to speak, as well. And it's a chemical substance. pH changes over time, and it loses its ability to protect against corrosion. And even beyond that, there's different grades of coolant out there, and some of them last longer than others. So some cars you'll see the schedule call to change it every 30,000. Other schedules may have it all the way up to 100,000 or even maybe 120 or 150,000 miles. Point being, it doesn't last forever. Now, it's one of those services that I think sometimes people go to a shop and the shop says, hey, it's time to have your coolant changed, and maybe you're not aware that it's necessary, so you're wondering why they suggested it. Or maybe you pay to have it done, and you think, you drive off and your car feels the same as it did when you got there, and maybe you're kind of wondering, what did I just pay for? Again, the pH of the coolant changes over time. It loses its ability to protect against corrosion. And what we have here today is this 2002 Nissan Sentra with a huge problem related to this. First thing I'll show you is, you see all these drips here. This is coolant, this green stuff here. It's leaking out from the top of the motor. When I filled the radiator earlier, it came right back out, hitting the ground, making a huge puddle on the floor that I had to mop up. And what's happened to it is you have what's called a core plug, also commonly known as a freeze plug, and it's up here. But if you look at the tip of my extension here at that circular area, I don't think you're going to be able to see them, but there's two pinholes in there. In other words, it's rusted so bad that there are literal holes in that guy. And after I filled the radiator, the coolant would leak out so fast you could actually, it almost looked like little fluid jets, so to speak. Or a tiny little faucet up there just letting it stream right back out. So we've got two actual holes in that plug. If the coolant had been changed per the maintenance schedule, maybe not even per the maintenance schedule, not that I'm advising going longer than that, but maybe just changed twice or even once over the lifetime of this 175, I think, or so, 1,000-mile car, that wouldn't have happened. And it's not just a question now either of, do we just pull the intake manifold and change out the one plug there? Because there's the one that I showed you. There's also, again, if you look at the top tip of the extension there, there's another one there. And we have no reason to think that on the back side of that plug where things are rusting that it's really going to be in much better shape than this one over here. Well, and here's another plug in the block right here. Kind of a little bit hidden behind that, that pressure center there. Here's another one back behind the starter motor. And if you come around to the front of the engine, you'd see two more. And here's where all this is going. If I just replace the one that's leaking, it'll probably make things better, provided that there's not another one that's rusted so bad that as the system starts to build pressure again, it just takes out the next weakest link. But even that doesn't mean, even if it survives short term, that doesn't mean that in another year or two, these other ones that are potentially all corroded on the inside don't start to leak as well. But if a lot of engines, if you're going to replace every single core plug all the way around, a lot of times the cost and time effective thing to do is to just drop the entire engine assembly out. And now we're starting to talk about a lot of money. So, kind of heavy stuff, right? These folks just bought this car a few months ago. All of a sudden, it's leaking coolant like crazy, and here we are. And again, one or two coolant changes in the past before all of this corrosion started probably would have prevented this. And this isn't unusual, by the way. Even though we're not a rust belt state here, it's not unusual for us to see cars coming in here where rust is forming in the cooling system from lack of maintenance. And then, of course, we try to educate our customers not to let that happen. But we do have people come in here for the first time where we have to warn them that the system is way overdue for maintenance. And this is one of the problems you can run into as a result of that. So, not trying to be all heavy and all that, just I hope it's helpful information. We want to ask you if you have any related questions. If you want more detail about what we're talking about, please reach out to us via email, phone. You can find us on the web. And thanks for watching.
And there's the mechanic, and I'm the mechanic's wife, and have a great day.